let's get ready to rock your 30-minute chair and resistance band balance and stability strength. So in this workout, we are focusing a lot on really good alignment and form that helps build stability and core strength so that as we build muscle, we are doing so safely and preventing injury. Please pause here, get your personalized warm-up in that helps you prevent injury and get more from these workouts. Otherwise, today's workout is 3 groups of 2 exercises with 75 seconds on, 20 seconds off, each done 2 times through. All right, we're gonna go back and forth between those 2 exercises. In 8 seconds, we're gonna hear a tone. That's gonna indicate our work rest interval. If you don't have resistance bands, you can have mini bands or dumbbells, all right? So our first exercise is going to be a squat with a banded alternating shoulder press. So we're gonna come all the way inside that resistance band, so that band is on our shoulders. We sit down into a squat, stand up, and then one arm at a time presses overhead, keeping the shoulders down and back. We're gonna go together in 5 seconds, all right? So get inside that band. If you don't have the band, go ahead and do the same movement with dumbbells. Now, as we sit down into that squat, our toes are pointed straight ahead, that second toe forward, lined up with our bony hips. Then we're pressing overhead into that resistance band, keeping our shoulders down and back away from those ears. Now, I know this is cued a lot in other fitness settings, but one of the key ways of keeping those shoulders down and back is tucking that chin back, all right, so that the ears are stacked over the shoulders, over those hips. If you're having a hard time and you're feeling the shoulder creep up, then you're gonna go down into a squat and do what's called a scaption. Thumb pointed up, bringing that arm slightly in front, and the goal here is feeling those shoulder blades beginning to learn how to rotate, all right? So with those dumbbells, the same exercise looks exactly the same. We squat down with the dumbbells on our shoulders and we press overhead. Now those palms facing, it's easier to keep the shoulders down and back, 5 more seconds. If we rotate those palms away from our body, it's a little bit more challenging. Our next exercise in this group is a single leg 45-degree banded pull down. So we're balancing on a single leg. We're bringing those bands up in front of that body, about 45 degrees, really important to keep the shoulders down and back. And we're gonna pull apart and squeeze to the top of that chest. Now, nice, slow and controlled. Again, really focusing on keeping the shoulders away from those ears by keeping that head back, feeling the shoulder blades swing. If we do not have resistance bands on this one, the exercise becomes a slight bend in those knees, a slight incline on that chest, and we're pulling one arm at a time towards our hip. Gentle pull in on that belly button, working on some anti-rotation as we do those rows for that back, okay? Now, we're gonna do the whole set balancing on one leg, and then the next round, you're gonna switch which leg we balance on. So we're squeezing the glutes. We have a gentle pull in on that belly button. If you're having a hard time and feeling like the shoulders are still going up towards those ears, bring that band in front of you, pull right below the chest into the bottom of that rib cage and sternum so that you can learn to feel what it feels like to keep those shoulders down and back. 4 seconds. Exhale on that squeeze. Beautiful job. Now, since we're going back and forth between these 2 exercises, one more time through, doing that squat with that banded alternating shoulder press. Now, we are aiming for 12 to 16 repetitions for endurance strength. Get ready? Here we go. So if that's the case, we want to get a resistance that challenges us for that very last repetition. All right, so last 2 to 3 repetitions, really. All right, we're going to try to alternate which arm we press overhead with. We're going to feel those shoulders work. You may also feel a stretch along the outside of those armpits. It's a really good sign because that generally means that your shoulder blades are rotating properly. Notice we're trying to alternate which arm we press overhead with. Now on these bands, we want to make sure our knuckles are punching up towards the ceiling. It's really easy to kind of let those hands flop. That's really hard on those wrists. So try to maintain that nice, strong wrist position, protecting the wrists, reducing that pain. We have a gentle pull in on the belly button. Our bum is squeezed nice and tight, and you've got 4 seconds left. Feeling those shoulders work. Oh, baby. All right, we are back to that single leg balance with the 45-degree pull down. Shake out the arms because they're coming overhead again, but our next round, we're hitting legs. So they're going to get a little bit of a breather. Are you ready? Up in front, about 45 degrees, that nice pull apart and squeeze. It's going to be very easy here to feel those shoulder blades come up towards those ears, especially as we pull down, and then as soon as we transition into that release back up. All right, so really focus on keeping them down and back. You can see my shoulders kind of get really broad through the outside of my armpits. So I'm coming nice and close here so you can see what this looks like. See how my shoulders kind of right through here start to splay out. That's actually my shoulder blade rotating. Now, if balance is a challenge for you, you can tap those toes on the floor. We're feeling that nice big squeeze in those glutes, keeping that balance. One thing you don't want to do is come into that tree pose, as that can be very hard on the hips. We want to exhale as we're pulling down, contracting those lats, also feeling the shoulders and the back of those arms. 4 seconds. One last one. Oh, feeling that work, shake it out. Now our next group, we're going to be using that chair, and we're going to be performing a single leg squat. So if this is new to you, we are going to start with just body weight alone. I'm going to show you some advancements, okay? If you don't have a chair, no worries. You can do this with a bench or even a coffee table, something that's about a comfortable height. We're going to balance on one leg, lift one off the floor, and we're going to sit those hips down just like we're sitting in that chair, tapping the hips down onto the chair nice and even. Now, we're not sitting down and then rocking to stand back up. We are lightly tapping just as a check-in. Oh, I'm nice and even. And then I push my hips forward, squeeze my bum to stand up. Now, keeping that foot hovering off the floor is very challenging here while keeping that toes, knees, hips nice and stacked. You're going to feel that knee want to go in, that hip want to go out. You really got to focus on squeezing. We're staying all on one leg for one round. And then guess what? The next exercise, we swap. So, oh baby, we're going to feel this work. Now, you can tap those toes down onto the floor. I just want most of the weight in that one leg. All right, big squeeze on the bum, big push up and squeeze. You can grab a dumbbell for that chest, but since we're using a resistance band, we can also place that under our foot, go down, tap, push up and squeeze into that resistance band. 7 seconds for the finish. Oh, feeling it work. Big squeeze. Shake out that balance leg. That foot gets to hover as we go into the opposite leg. So I'm going to swing my chair around so you can see it. We're going to really feel this in the outside of that hip as well as the inside of that knee as we really focus on good alignment here. All right, here we go. Hovering one foot, sitting down, tap, nice up and squeeze. So it's really important. We want to try to make sure that we're tapping both legs at the same time. This means our hips are nice and square. Whoop. You're going to feel that challenge. Now, what you can see is I have a harder time with my right leg. All right. with both balance as well as strength. So I really have to focus in. Now, for me, I want to keep my head in a neutral position. A lot of times we want to look straight up in front of us and pick a spot. This creates a lot of tension on that upper back and neck, which we want to get away from because most of us already feel tight and angry through there. So I am focusing on an area in the floor in front of me. As I go down, I'm about 3 feet in front. And then as I lift up, I'm about 5 or 6 feet in front. All right, don't forget what you do to one side, you do to the other. So I'm going to demonstrate again with that resistance band underneath my target leg. Exhale and push. We're going to do one more for good measure. Keep it even. Awesome job, guys. Shake it out. That was round 1 on both sides. I'm going to demonstrate again with my opposite leg this time. All right, so we're back to the top in 3 seconds. Switching legs, get ready to work. Now, you should know, balance and stability is challenging, but it builds a very, very strong foundation for all of our strength workouts. All right, so if you can balance on one leg and keep strong alignment and position through a squat, that means as we start to load and put 2 feet on the floor, we are going to be that much stronger in our alignment and in our position. Most important, the muscles that stabilize this alignment and position are going to be strong and have the endurance to last through that exercise. So it's really important that we work on that stabilizing strength as a foundation and support to keep us growing, building, getting stronger. All right, so focus in. I know it's hard. Balance is hard. You're gonna feel it all through that support leg from hip to toes. I can feel it working in the arch of my foot. 6 seconds, but that means those muscles are working, stabilizing, supporting my foot properly. Rotating my chair again, shaking it out. 10 seconds, switching sides, only 1 round through. So if we're hitting 12 repetitions, come with me in 2. If we're hitting 12 repetitions, 2 rounds gets us to 24 total repetitions. All right, now keep in mind that when we do strength, right, and muscle building, we're aiming for those like 8, 10 reps. 3 rounds of 8 equals 24, right? So we get a little bit more bang for our buck by only doing 2 rounds, even though the time at work in these positions is a little bit longer. All right, focus on that form. Nice light tap. We want to make sure we're going down with control. We're not just flopping, right? We're really lightly tapping before we change directions. It is actually harder to not tap at all and change directions. So if you want to take it up a notch, you can absolutely do that. But we're pushing, we're working. You only have 20 seconds left. It's actually amazing, as hard as these are, how quickly these 75 seconds go. Notice I'm not doing a pistol. That's really hard on the hip flexors and the quad with a movement that's already hard enough to stabilize. All right, beautiful work. Shake it out. We are still using that chair, and we're gonna go to a single leg push-up. Really working on our core strength on that push-up incline. So hands are about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider. We're gonna lift 1 foot off the floor by pushing back through those toes. And then we're gonna go down into that push-up. Exhale as we push through that chair and come up. Come with me in 2. Now, my glutes are tight, my belly button's pulled in. As I go down, I'm aiming for my elbow to stay stacked over those wrists. I want to pull my chin back so I don't feel like I'm reaching towards that chair. This is already our last group, guys. So bear with me. Most important, we're feeling the chest work, the shoulders and the arms. We're really going to feel this in the core right? Especially after those single leg squats. We're going to keep going for a few more seconds, and we switch legs. All right, belly button gently pulled in. This reduces that back pain that a lot of people feel on that push-up. It helps prevent that hip dip and that core sway. Squeezing the bum. Exhale. Push up and squeeze. Oh, we're feeling it work. Exhale. Nice, slow, controlled down. We don't have to go all the way down and tapping. All right, we're just going till those upper arms are parallel. One last one. With that nice control. Oh, feeling that work. All right, our last exercise. The base of our shoulder blades is coming to that chair. The resistance band is going around our back and underneath our heels for a resistance band push-up. All right, glute bridge, I'm sorry. So walk those feet away, and we're simply pushing those hips up into that resistance. All right, so I gotta reset myself here a little bit, get my heels a little bit further away, and we're just pushing up into that resistance band, nice, slow, and controlled. Belly button gently pulled in, glutes nice and tight. Can lay that head back, but ideally we want to kind of keep it neutral. Toes, knees, hips in that nice straight line. Now, my chair is a little bit hard, so if you have that resistance band and it's really hard, you can go down to the floor, tuck it under those heels, push up into that resistance band. If you don't have the resistance band, you can get a dumbbell and place it on those hips, okay? But the nice thing about that chair is as you can see, it gives me a little bit more range of motion, okay? My hips get a little bit deeper. I can get a nice big push up and squeeze. I'm not spending the time to tuck my resistance band back in for these last couple. Beautiful work. Guess what, guys? A minute and a half left, and then we get to enjoy that cool down and stretch. Hang with me. Keep working. You are almost there. Single leg push up on that first leg. All right, so pick a leg. I'm choosing the one that I finished on. Pushing back through those toes, squeezing those glutes, staying tall and long through the crown of that head. What I don't want to see is us reaching, okay? I don't want to see you leaning back away from those arms. That becomes a lot more shoulder than chest. Makes it actually a lot harder. Exhale, push up and squeeze. Now, if you want to make this a little bit easier, you can do it against a wall or anything that's a little bit higher on that incline. So think about a set of stairs. Go ahead and switch legs. That means we're halfway through, guys. Reset, squeeze those glutes. Gentle pulling on that belly button. I know the chest is getting tired, the back, as well as the back of that neck, as we try to keep that good alignment and position. So the higher up you go on an incline, the easier it's gonna be. Conversely, the lower we go, the harder it's going to be. Either way, we're all in different places on our journey, and we're gonna embrace wherever we are. One last exercise, all right? I'm gonna tuck in my band first, underneath my heels, all right? And then we're going up on that chair, pulling that resistance band up to those hips, big up and squeeze. Now, this is not about getting the highest range of motion possible, so I don't want you arching that back to push up into it. We prevent that arch in our back by gently pulling in our belly button. I'm reducing some of that tension in my back by putting my back up higher, so like a little bit higher right underneath my shoulder blades there. Nice, slow, and controlled. Gonna try to keep my chin tucked, head back without support. Nice and controlled here. Squeezing my glutes literally does mean like you're pinching a penny here, right? Squeezing a dollar bill, hold it between those cheeks and smile, because guess what? We are down to 16 seconds. Control, purposeful movements, engaging that core, feeling our whole body work in these small movements. But oh man, beautiful job. Take that resistance band off. Get a quick drink. You've already made it to the cool down and stretch. This is it. We did a lot of work today. All right, a lot of work on our stabilizing muscles. So our very first stretch is going to be along the insides of those thighs. We're standing wide, toes straight ahead. We're going to step one foot slightly forward. Heel in line with those opposite foot's toes. We're going to lean into that leg and then tuck the hips under. Big squeeze on those glutes. Feeling that stretch the inside of that thigh. All right, you can walk that foot a hair wider if you want to feel a deeper stretch. Oh, it feels really good to stretch it out. Take that nice deep breath in. Exhale. Let it out and switch sides. As always, I have very focused cool down and stretch, okay? It's very purposeful in the muscles that I'm targeting. Muscles that have the propensity to get tight lead to pain and injury. Now, if you're in my Kinetic Balance Fitness virtual gym, then you have very specific releases and stretches that help your body feel better, get stronger, and prevent that pain and injury. So feel free to do any of those stretches that you're already doing at the end here. We're gonna come down to the floor for those hip flexor muscles. Feet are hip width apart. My back foot is flexed under, so my toes are pointing towards my bum. And then all I'm doing here is squeezing my glutes, tucking my hips under. I get a lovely stretch through the front of my hip, down into my thigh. I can increase that by reaching overhead, even adding a small lean to the side. Now we shouldn't have any pain in the kneecap here, so feel free to get a blanket or a chair. And if you need to, you can even come up onto a couch into a raised position and then step slightly forward and then squeeze those glutes, okay? We just don't need to be agitating anything here. But it's all about that hip flexor and the front of that thigh, stretching those muscles out after we've worked them hard. And like everything else, we always want to hold our stretches until we no longer feel that stretching sensation. And then we switch sides, okay? Same thing. Take a mental note if one side is tighter than the other. Is it tighter in the front of the hip? Is it tighter in the thigh? Are those areas that you might need to release, okay, in order to prevent pain? These areas are very common pain points for knee pain as well as hip and low back pain. And most of us get very, very tight through here. Oh, it feels so good today. Even though I've been really active today, this muscle on this right side is just always not real happy with me. Lots of work on a daily basis, right? All right, toes together, knees wide. We're gonna go into our child's pose. Reach the hands away, roll the shoulders down and back. We're sitting those hips towards those heels. If you don't have the range and motion on the knees, feel free to use that chair or that incline, all right? Nice big deep breath in here and through the nose. Expand the belly, expand the ribs, exhale. Beautiful work. One more here. Inhale, exhale. Awesome job. We are finishing with our hamstring stretch, which is really important, especially for these endurance stability, as we really want those glutes to be working. We want to calm those hamstrings down. One leg nice and straight, the other knee is bent. We cross over with the opposite arm, grab the outside back, and then we kick like we're kicking over the opposite shoulder. Nice, slow, controlled release back down. Kick it up. You're going to feel a nice stretch through the outside back of the thigh, potentially into the back of that leg and calf. Now, no need here to flex that foot. Even if you feel an increase in stretch, all you're stretching is your sciatic nerve. You're not getting any beneficial stretching through the back of that hamstring. When you no longer feel that stretching sensation, go ahead and switch sides and kick. Kick like you're kicking over that opposite shoulder. Our hips stay flat on the floor. Our shoulders stay square. And notice my leg does come completely straight, but that is not necessarily normal. Most people might end up with a slight bend in that knee. I only want you to kick as far as you can to feel that stretching sensation. All right, and feel free to use your resistance bands here. Sometimes that's a little bit more comfortable, using that resistance band to hold that leg. It all kind of depends on our anatomy and our particular bodies. I have very long arms, so it's easy for me to reach my legs. Take that nice big deep breath in. Exhale. I hope you found balance in motion and you build strength and you found energy to get through your day as you've built confidence, stabilizing strength, as well as healthy functional muscle that we built a strong foundation on. All right, beautiful work. Never hesitate to reach out to me. We can leave comments, email me, reach out to me through the website. I'm always happy to help. I'm always listening to your feedback so I can be better for you. Thank you for joining me, trusting me with your body, and letting me be part of your fitness journey.